Okay, once again, we need to top off the fluid level, and we want it as full as possible because we're going to bleed the brakes, and that's going to remove fluid from the system. So I'm going to go ahead and top it all the way off to where it's full again, and I'll just loosely lay the cap back down just to cover it up, keep any contaminants from getting inside. And the other thing that we want to do at this time, I'll have you go down, and we'll go back to the brakes. And as I did earlier, we want to make sure that everything we worked on is both clean and dry. And the reason for this is when we start into a brake bleeding procedure, we're going to do a couple pressure tests. And if all the fluid and everything's wiped around the fittings we've just worked on, if there's any leaks, we're going to be able to visually see those. And that's going to indicate to us a problem, and it will stop and address that problem immediately because you can't properly bleed the brakes if you've got a leak in the system. Once again, I'm going to spray them off one more time. And if you've got compressed air, you can quickly blow dry off all the excess and get them dry. If not, a rag will do, and just wipe down around the fitting, make sure that it's perfectly dry, and on both fittings, upper and lower. And that's what we're concerned with, is the area that we're working in. We want to make sure everything's clean and dry. If it's covered in brake fluid that's been leaking out from us removing the line, we're not going to be able to get a determination whether we have a leak when we do the brake bleeding procedure. One of the easiest ways of determining a leak, other than poor braking performance when you're driving, a symptom that you now have to go look for a leak, is to visually see them. And so by getting everything, all the old brake fluid off the system and thoroughly dry, we can easily verify that we don't have any leaks. So you're going to want to go over to the passenger side and follow through and do the exact same procedure, clean those fittings down, wipe them down with a rag, blow them off with some compressed air, whatever you need to do to get them dry. And our next segment will be on bleeding the brakes.